I was able to get the bipartisan support to pass a bill called Cover All Kids, ensuring that 18,000 children, regardless of where they came from, have access to the Oregon Health Plan. My opponent voted no on that particular measure. I also was able to bring Oregonians together, Republicans and Democrats, to invest in the most comprehensive transportation package in Oregon history, investing in our roads and bridges, congestion reduction, seismic resilience, and for the first time ever, investments in public transit in communities across the state, making sure that our seniors and our students can get where they need to go safely.
Can I rebut that?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, let me be clear. I voted against Governor Brown's plan to fund Medicaid expansion, not because I wanted people to have less health care, but because I wanted people to have better health and less expensive care. And Governor Brown's plan failed on both accounts. There's a severe lack of accountability. The good news in Oregon is that 400,000 more people have health care. The bad news is that Governor Brown, administrating this very important program, wasted hundreds of millions of dollars in missed payments, misallocated payments, and signing people up for Medicaid who shouldn't have been on it.